All right. I'm a little biased being from Canada. Lupita Godinez trains out of BC. So I got high hopes for, Mexican fighter coming out of Canada against a huge, huge, huge veteran in Jessica Penne, right? Like this is a short notice fight. I think that Godinez has an absolutely beautiful opportunity to actually make a difference very quickly in her UFC career. We always talk about that LFA title showing. I think that she surprised absolutely everybody when it came to the Demopoulos fight. The striking was just absolutely beautiful to watch. I also think that Demopoulos is just a highly skilled grappler who is still getting her feet wet from a striking perspective. So to think too far ahead on that might be something that people are doing. You're seeing her come in at a minus 300 or so favorite now. And when you look at some of the other fights that we've just talked about with Burchak, Gerald Meerschaert is basically even. Dakota Bush is a pretty big underdog versus an Austin Hubbard coming in at minus 182, 200. So Lupita right now at a minus 300, pretty even around that minus 285 lane. So, I think people are riding that performance pretty highly. When you look at what Jessica Penne has done, at least most recently, Danielle Taylor was the fight that I kind of checked out. And, two things, good and bad. I think the high kicks are a little outrageous for where she's trying to throw them. For the shorter fighter, she basically cleared her head every single time. But the good thing that I noticed was, she's able to kind of throw the knees out as the smaller fighter gets in really close. And I think that's a really, really opportunistic move to land, maybe even in this fight, right? Because I think Lupita is going to really try to utilize that boxing and get in. And, Jessica's going to be the longer fighter. She usually is. And I think pot shots, jabs, knees and body kicks are probably the way to go. I think the high kick seems to be a waste. And if anyone wants to run in and get a quick takedown on some of these sloppy kicks, especially late, it's a really good idea against a fighter like Jessica Penne. Now, if I'm Jessica Penne and I watched Lupita Godinez's last fight, I'm likely trying to get this to the ground. One thing you'll notice in the last fight against Taylor is she really wasn't winning the striking battles very much. But when she did try to get the fight close and when she did try to utilize some of the takedowns, she had more success. I think that's something where it's a much better game plan to avoid maybe some of the damage that Lupita can do, because when you're looking at those hands, I mean, they need to be tested by much better talent, I think, at least from a UFC perspective, because I think Demopoulos is right there on the cusp of becoming that UFC fighter, and I'm pumped to watch her fight again. But, when you talk about the way McKenna beat her in striking, Lupita beat her in striking, these are things where you just have to see how good her striking is against a fighter like Penne. Because again, Penne, what can she improve on? I just didn't like that she was so reactionary against a fighter like Taylor, where she kind of is the more experienced guy or experienced fighter. And the other thing is, like, wasn't landing very many combos. I felt like she was throwing a lot of single shots, straights, a couple jabs maybe, but then she'd finish with this crazy high kick that really wouldn't find its place. And so when you're looking at things like that, especially a fighter like Godinez, who was using her strikes very efficiently in that title fight, it makes you really wonder where this fight's going to go. Because if Jessica Penne, who's been training for so many years in this entire MMA realm, I think her ability to maybe go in there and try to get a takedown and try to make this a really grueling ground fight, and maybe even just some type of keep it close, right? Because I think Lupita is going to be quick. She's going to have some hands that can really let go. And if she starts to get tagged for 3 straight rounds, I mean, I think that's an easy win for Lupita. And yeah, I mean, minus 300, that's very questionable. If I'm looking at that as Jessica Penne, I'm really going to be analyzing what is it that they see that she's so much better than me at, And I think that's where, the ground game is somewhere where maybe we could see something happen. She's an improving striker, but even in that one fight, I just was really surprised with just how little she utilized that, when it was very obvious that Taylor was landing some big shots inside. Penne was able to get some of her timing back later in the fight, but a little too late. And also, I think the takedowns would have helped her a lot earlier in the fight, especially pushing the pace, getting her up against the fence, just take control of the fight and work off of that. I think it would have done her some good in that one. So I think this is going to be an amazing fight to kick off, the female fights. We just lost the Zara Fernand-Josina Nunes fight, which is unfortunate, missed weight by a good 8-9 pounds. Not good when you're thinking about the fact that should have been your UFC, I guess, coming out party after taking on 2 big fights in Felicia Spencer and Megan Anderson. I almost lost it there.